भारत माता की भारत माता की वंदे वंदे वंदे।
Far away she stays, far away she breathes, far away she watches, far away she still lives. She awaits her freedom from years of sham, betrayal. She awaits her salvation. I hear your cries every night. I heard what they did to you. I saw what they did to you. The wild, the aliens. But mother, I'm not the son who left you to rust. I'm not the son who became one of them. I'm not the son who betrayed you. I saw through the rust, and I saw you. And now I'm coming for you. I walk. O great mother of the billions, I'm one of yours. Do you see me? A son, a grateful one. I saw the stones. Their knives are sharp. It hurts. But I feel no pain. I walk. I saw their shining teeth and claws at night, but I felt no fear. I walk. The hands who fed me, I remember. I'm not one of them. Do you see me? Your hands in rusted shackles. Wait for me. They called you names. Rage and fury. In my heart, I walk. The return of your lost glory. Honor. It's time. Wait for me. O great mother India, do you remember me? I am your son, a grateful one. And I'm here now. Come out and see the world. The world needs you. Hold my hand, and I will take you to where you belong. And now, we walk.
हम उसी विचारधारा में पले हैं जो विचारधारा राष्ट्र प्रथम, नेशन फर्स्ट की बात करती है। ये हमारी विचारधारा है कि हमें राजनीति का पाठ राष्ट्र नीति की भाषा में पढ़ाया जाता है। हमारी राजनीति में भी राष्ट्र नीति सर्वोपरि है। हमें राजनीति और राष्ट्र नीति में से एक स्वीकार करना होगा, तो हमें संस्कार मिले हैं राष्ट्र नीति को स्वीकार करना, राजनीति को नंबर 2 पे रखना।
We never say that if you believe in my philosophy, then you will achieve your goal. What we say that ekam sat vipraha bahuda vadanti. Truth is one. Sages call it in a different way. So we don't believe. We believe in a one God. People think that He is Allah. Another thing is a issue. One says it's a Rama. One says it's a Krishna. It is up to the believers. God is one. We don't say that Hindu's God is separate, Muslim God is separate, Christian God is separate. This is not our philosophy. We believe in a Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. Whole world is family. This is in our DNA. This is in our genetic system.
People who have seen Modi during his tenure as Chief Minister of Gujarat always knew that he is a patriot. The entire nation knows now. Right from the day he became the Prime Minister of India in 2014, Modi has constantly travelled abroad wearing India, at least for the first 2 years. It seems like a son is going door to door to tell the world how great his mother is. Gurudev Rabindranath Tagore, in his book Nationalism, denounced Western nationalism and hoped that India should never adopt the concept of nationalism from the West. The Western nationalism, which preached unity of all who resides within a defined border, and those who resides outside the border are your enemy, or in softer terms, unequal. This form of nationalism has always inflicted wars and barbarism worldwide, where no one knew the tipping point when pride became arrogance. Unity of people under one flag does no harm if respect for diversity and human lives remains supreme on your mind. All men are born equal. There is no inequality. Gurudev also hoped that India would find its concept of nationalism deriving inspiration from our 5,000 years of civilization and not ape Western nationalism blindly, which is a disaster waiting for its time. When Narendra Modi says nation first to Indians, and then he turns back to the world and says Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, the world is one family, I smile and close my eyes. What a huge relief. We are in safe hands. Everything else, whether it's ambition for $5 trillion economy, promoting yoga worldwide, reforms in all sectors, defensive offense policy, bringing in strict laws, or reducing corruption, or for that matter housing for all, digital India, Swachh Bharat, Startup India, etc., are all mini missions under the umbrella of his larger vision. Normally, management needs you to work at a tactical level, and leadership needs you to work at a strategic level. So it's a very rare case when someone is good at both strategy and tactics. Of course, a home minister like Mr. Amit Shah helps to ease out things a bit at times, but we still cannot take away this from Modi, that he does not take any decision without understanding the root cause at the ground level and what impact it will have in the long term. Modi always strives to ensure that his strategy at the top is being implemented on the ground. His constant effort in removing heavy bureaucracy in the system, removing corruption, doing performance reviews of his ministers, reshuffling his cabinet every 2 to 3 years, are proofs of his administrative capability. The best part is that there were no internal fights due to his strict performance-oriented decisions. It looked like a team with a common goal of serving motherland is at work. Credit should be given to all his ministers as well for keeping the vision above their own self-interest. Schemes after schemes Modi was able to announce and then implement on ground, which always was a challenge for previous governments. The result was a thumping victory yet again in 2019 general elections.
The BJP on its own has got more than 15 seats more than they got the last time.
The Yugpurush is also a very decisive leader. Once he decides on something, he plans and immediately acts on it. His decisive nature helped him to implement some challenging things like the GST, like demonetization, like the CAA, like the triple talaq ban, like the Article 370 removal, and recently farm bills and national lockdown due to the COVID-19. A few of these have even met with strong protest and even riots in some states. However, as a decisive leader, Modi never looked back once a decision was taken, as the decisions are always taken thinking about the benefit of the masses. The world has seen many leaders come and go, but only those who could walk the talk never left us, and will not, ever. Stories of great leaders travel across generations. No propaganda machinery, no negative campaign, no money is good enough to hold the truth down on the ground for long. It is a truth that Prime Minister Modi inspires billions across the world through his words and actions. When you see a 70-year-old man working tirelessly for over 15 hours a day, even on a Sunday, no vacation, no leaves, no breaks, you're witnessing a Yugpurush at work. When you visually see the leader of your country working tirelessly himself, setting up an example every day through his polite and respectful behavior, when you see him picking up the garbage from the beaches, when you see him picking up a broomstick himself, when you see him washing the feet of the sanitation workers, when you see him remaining calm and composed amidst abuses hurled at him by the opposition and during adverse situations, when you see him doing yoga himself before asking others to do, when you see all that and choose not to ignore, then there is no way that you will be left uninspired. Do you know a second man on this planet who has done more than 400 rallies himself in the 2014 general elections and more than 150 rallies himself in the 2019 general elections? We all must learn how skillfully Modi manages his energy throughout the day and repeats it next day and again and again and again. Every single thing Modi has preached to the world, he has become a role model for that himself first. Be it his behavior, hard work, dedication, patriotism, integrity, honesty, and commitment to his people. The Yugpurush has earned the trust of his fellow countrymen, people just trust him. Even if he makes mistakes, the trust earned by him let people forgive him and give him another chance. Inspiration has and will always dominate motivation, and the Yugpurush knows how to inspire people.
तो भारत का चरित्र अजय रहने का है, विजयी रहने का है, लेकिन किसी के हक को छीनना ये भारत का चरित्र नहीं है। लेकिन जब कोई टेररिज्म एक्सपोर्ट करने का उद्योग बना करके बैठा हो, मेरे देश के निर्दोष नागरिकों को मौत के घाट उतार दिया जाता हो, युद्ध लड़ने की ताकत नहीं है, पीठ पर वार करने के प्रयास होते हो, तो ये मोदी है, उसी भाषा में जवाब देना जानता है।
Even the strongest of critics and people who hates him will admit that Modi is a powerful public speaker. The Yugpurush gives evidence of a strong memory even at this age, when he gives 80% of his long speeches without reading notes. He speaks with supreme belief and thus confidence, which can touch any person using very simple words and metaphors. It is on record that his opposition, frustrated over his success, has abused him personally, over and over again, using over 50 slangs. And it is also on record that the Yugpurush never abused back. His witty words, metaphors and sarcasm were sharp enough to slice and dice his enemies, and he does it like a god. Have a look.
मैंने कांग्रेस के एक नेता का कल घोषणा पत्र सुना। उन्होंने घोषणा की है कि 6 महीने में मोदी को डंडे मारेंगे। और ये बात सही है कि काम जरा कठिन है, तो तैयारी के लिए 6 महीने तो लगते ही हैं। तो 6 महीने का समय तो अच्छा है, लेकिन मैं भी 6 महीने में तय किया हूं कि रोज सूर्य नमस्कार की संख्या बढ़ा दूंगा, ताकि अब तक करीब 20 साल जिस प्रकार की गंदी गालियां सुन रहा हूं और अपने आप को गाली प्रूफ बना दिया है, 6 महीने ऐसे सूर्य नमस्कार करूंगा, ऐसे सूर्य नमस्कार करूंगा कि मेरी पीठ को भी हर डंडे झेलने की ताकत वाला बना दूंगा। तो मैं आभारी हूं कि पहले से अनाउंस कर दिया गया है, तो मुझे ये 6 महीना आप एक्सरसाइज बढ़ाने का टाइम मिलेगा।
However, what makes his speeches so powerful and impactful is his emotional intelligence. The Yugpurush can feel you. He can sense your pulse. He can sense your love, your wrath, your sorrow. Yugpurush understands the mind of the last person in the social ladder. His speeches can instantly lift someone's mood and spirit. Do you remember Pulwama attack? 40 of our brave soldiers were martyred in a dastardly terrorist attack in Kashmir. The nation was angry. People wanted retribution. Yugpurush felt this anger within people and instantly gave the speech that he will take strong action.
मैं आतंकी संगठनों को और उनके सरपरस्तों को कहना चाहता हूं कि वे बहुत बड़ी गलती कर चुके हैं। बहुत बड़ी कीमत उनको चुकानी पड़ेगी।
Post his words to his men, he actioned on it. Balakot happened. The timing of his speech, post retribution to his people, was immaculate. Instantly lifted the spirit of the nation.
सौगंध मुझे इस मिट्टी की, सौगंध मुझे इस मिट्टी की, मैं देश नहीं मिटने दूंगा। मैं देश नहीं रुकने दूंगा। मैं देश नहीं झुकने दूंगा।
The Yugpurush knows that the people have shorter memories, but they have longer feelings. Feelings of poverty, feelings of hopelessness, feelings of being ignored, feelings of being let down by politicians and leaders years on years, feelings of shame of being dark-skinned and not knowing how to speak English were always the feeling of a common man in India because they were made to feel this way by the wicked and the corrupt. So Modi used the social media and the IT cells to constantly remind people of what Congress led by the Gandhi family did in the past and what he is doing now. He knows how to keep the opposition on the mat face down by not letting people forget the past, by not letting the opposition take advantage of the short human memory. When coronavirus was causing mayhem around the world and proved that no developed country in the world with their envious coveted healthcare system was good enough to face its danger, the Yugpurush once again proved his mettle. An emotionally intelligent leader knew instantly that more than medicines and hospitals, what people really needed was the courage to fight the pandemic. They needed a hope. They needed a ray of light. And he delivered exactly that. Lighting up lamps, making sounds of bells, conches and clapping on the balcony for the COVID warriors will not fight the corona directly, but it will give hope, energy and strength to the people to fight this pandemic together. A lot of countries like the USA, UK, Cuba, Singapore, Switzerland followed the Yugpurush and came out in their balconies too, with the energy of light and the vibration of sound. The Yugpurush also tries to speak in native languages wherever he travels, since every man loves anyone who speaks in his mother tongue, and everyone loves anyone more who comes from outside and still speaks in his mother tongue. Only an emotionally intelligent leader can accomplish all these in one lifetime. Even before he became the Prime Minister of India, Modi was a great networker, almost like a natural. He always maintained good relations with countries like Afghanistan, Japan, Singapore, even when he was the Chief Minister of Gujarat. The shift in India's foreign policy after his arrival on the center stage changed the way the world looked at India. One of his achievements was establishing great relation with the United States of America and Saudi Arabia. Russia was always with India. Modi's Look East policy ensured great relations with Japan, Singapore, Taiwan, Vietnam, Indonesia, Bhutan, Myanmar, Bangladesh, and even he tried to bond with China. However, that handshake was a shaky one. maybe the Chinese hand cannot be trusted. Relations with Russia, Israel, UK, Australia, France, Brazil reached new heights. The Yugpurush is perhaps those rare world leaders who can land in Saudi Arabia and then go to Israel and then go to Palestine, and no one had any issues. He can go to USA for a defense deal and next day land up in Russia. One thing always have been common in all these networking events. Off the table, the Yugpurush followed the world is one family policy, and on the table he followed nation first policy. The world adopted yoga. The world started looking at India with respect and as a powerful force to reckon with. The world started looking at India as an investment destination too. Recently, India recorded the highest FDI inflow of over $81 billion in financial year 2021. It comes in the backdrop of a series of policy steps taken to improve the ease of doing business and to attract investments into the domestic manufacturing capacity. Even our exports reached the highest since independence. The list is endless under the leadership of this mighty networker who has connected the world seamlessly with India.
(26/11) की घटना के समय आप इंचार्ज होते तो क्या कर सकते थे?
पहली बात है, जो मैंने गुजरात में किया वो करके दिखाता। मुझे देर नहीं लगती, मैं आज भी कहता हूं, पाकिस्तान को उसकी भाषा में जवाब देना चाहिए। पाकिस्तान को उसी की भाषा में जवाब देना चाहिए। ये लव लेटर लिखना बंद करना चाहिए।
लेकिन इंटरनेशनल प्रेशर है, उसका भी तो ख्याल रखना पड़ेगा सरकार को।
इंटरनेशनल प्रेशर पैदा करने की ताकत आज हिंदुस्तान में 100 करोड़ का देश है। पूरी दुनिया पे प्रेशर हम पैदा कर सकते हैं जी। कोई हम पर कैसे प्रेशर पैदा करे? ये उल्टी गंगा क्यों चली? मैं हैरान हूं जी। पाकिस्तान हमको मार के चला गया। पाकिस्तान ने हम पर हमला बोल दिया मुंबई में, और हमारे मंत्री जी अमेरिका गए और रोने लगे, ओबामा ओबामा ये हमको मार के चला गया, बचाओ बचाओ। ये कोई तरीका होता है क्या? पड़ोसी मार के चला जाओ और अमेरिका जाते हो? अरे पाकिस्तान जाओ ना।
क्या तरीका होता?
पाकिस्तान जो भाषा में समझे समझाना चाहिए।
वही तो मैं आपसे समझने की कोशिश
वही तो मैं कह रहा हूं, पाकिस्तान जो भाषा में समझे वो समझाना चाहिए।
It seems like India was never really set free by the British. The British left India physically, but their policies remained. Flawed defense policies, foreign policies, and minority appeasement policies of Congress made sure that India always bled internally with riots, terrorist attacks from outside, and by communist and jihadi forces within. India also failed to engage with the expansionist China with an iron fist. And also with the communal and theocratic state Pakistan. Although when pushed to the wall, India did engage and humbled Pakistan at times, like the 1971 war or the 1999 Kargil war. However, we never went offensive to avert further attacks. We were always reactive, and there too we were found wanting at times. We did nothing post the Parliament attack. We did nothing after the Akshardham temple attack. We did nothing post Mumbai attack. Every year, India used to get death news due to terrorist attacks somewhere in some parts of the country. And our leaders did nothing. We did not need only to go to US or UN to cry about it and do a candlelight march within India to wipe the tears of countrymen. Our leaders whisper, Pakistan has nukes, China has nukes. So what if? What if? What if? The Yugpurush proved the fear wrong. His courage engulfed the fear and busted the myth. Who could have imagined that Indian Army would go into Myanmar, kill the terrorist and come back safe? Then they would go to Pakistan on foot, kill the terrorist and come back. They could fly to Pakistan next time, drop bombs on the terrorist camp and come back alive. They could attack the intruding Chinese army, kill over 45 of them with bare hands when we lost our 20 brave hearts. And that too when the Chinese attacked our Jawans sheepishly while they were sleeping in their camps. No nukes got fired, only empty threats were flying all over. All it took was the courage to put your own hands in fire and test it yourself. If all of these would have gone wrong and failed, then Modi could have lost his throne and would have been put on trial. However, his vision of nation first helped him to put his country's interest over his own life. Post 2014, when Modi became the PM, there has been zero terrorist attacks on civilians in India. Speaks volume of his intent and work. No one can deny that it is only due to his immense courage that the surgical strike happened in Pakistan, that the surgical strike happened in Myanmar. Pakistan and China was humbled many times at border. Article 370 abolition also happened, and reduction in terrorism is a reality in India. It is only due to his courageous leadership that India is safe for citizens and a hell for terrorists, no matter whether you are holding a gun or a pen against the country. You are never really an omniscient unless you are a god. The traits of a great leader is how willing he is to learn, adopt and adapt to changes. Only one thing is constant in the world, and that is change. Any race, any civilization, any individual who got stuck in their time, knowledge, ego, pleasure, and could not reform themselves or adapt to change quickly has perished forever. Narendra Modi is a keen learner and an observer of the changes happening around the world, especially in the field of technology and environment. India's lead role in the Climate Change Summit, investment in the green and blue economy for the future, heavy investments in the R&D, DRDO, ISRO, shows his interest in the research, science and knowing the unknown. His schemes of Digital India saw unprecedented growth in the digital payments and hence reduction in corruption and black money. During COVID-19, under his leadership and guidance, India developed CoWIN platform, the COVID Vaccine Intelligence Network, a digitized indigenous platform for vaccine registration, using which India has successfully vaccinated over 43 crore people, which is almost 500 million. Not only that, the Yugpurush never wanted to encash this during the pandemic. His vision of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam meant that he made this app open source for the benefit of other countries. Under his leadership, India was able to become one of the largest manufacturer of mask and PPE kit almost overnight. Modi also understood the power of social media and citizen journalism. He embraced social media and used it for his and his party's advantage, whether it is countering fake news or propagating good work, or connecting with the youth, or doing surveys, acknowledging your weak areas and working on it, and repeating this process again and again throughout the year and throughout your lifetime. The Yugpurush has proven time and again about his growth mindset.
और विनेश, ये तो मेरे ही परिवार की है। क्या बेटा, बहुत तुम गुस्सा आ गया तुम्हें, अपने आप पर गुस्सा क्यों करती हो? हैं?
सर इतनी
देखिए,
मेहनत
तुमने
करते हैं।
बहुत अच्छा खेला है और तुम्हारे परिवार ने, पूरे परिवार ने बहुत कुछ अच्छा दिया है। विनेश निराश नहीं हो सकती, ये बात नहीं चलेगी। मैंने सुना तुम आने के बाद भी किसी को मिलती नहीं थी, ये क्या तरीका है?
सर इतनी मेहनत के बाद जब मेडल नहीं आता तो दुख होता है काफी।
नहीं, ऐसा नहीं होता है।
तो
अरे खिलाड़ी की जिंदगी में हारना है तो बाएं हाथ का खेल होता है।
सर
वो हारने से कभी चिंता नहीं करता है।
हार एक्सेप्ट करने में थोड़ा सा टाइम लगता है सर मेरे को।
नहीं नहीं, मतलब कि मन से निकालना चाहिए। और मैंने जो है अभी मैंने नीरज से एक बात कही, मेरा मत है कि जीत को कभी सर पे चढ़ने मत दो और हार को मन में बसने मत दो। ये मंत्र जीवन में बहुत जरूरी होते हैं। जो जीत में, उसके दिमाग में अगर जीत भर गई तो भी निकम्मा हो जाता है, और हार उसके मन में बस गई तो भी यही हाल होता है। तो विनेश, मैं पूरे परिवार को तुझे जानता हूं, तुम्हें दिन रात नहीं देख सकता हूं। वरना एकता करो, हफ्ते 10 दिन के बाद मम्मी बहनें सब मेरे यहाँ बैठूंगा, बैठ देगा आधे घंटे को लोगों के साथ।
थैंक यू सर।
ये नहीं चलेगा।
आपने जो ये बात बोल दिया सर, मेरे ख्याल से सभी एथलीट उससे मोटिवेट होंगे जिनका मेडल नहीं आया है। तो ये बहुत बड़ी बात है मेरे लिए।
भाई देखिए, आपने मेडल जीतने से हर किसी को गर्व हुआ, मुझे भी हुआ, लेकिन मुझे एक और बात से संतोष हुआ, और वो जब तुमने अपने ड्राइवरों को बुला करके उनका सम्मान किया। ये मैं सच बताता हूँ, मेडल से गर्व होना और ये नम्रता और उनको याद करना, ये तो कोई बड़े संस्कारों के कारण संभव होता है, और ये तुमने करके दिखाया। मैं समझता हूं कि देश के सब लोगों को ये प्रेरणा मिलेगी, क्योंकि यही लोग थे जिन्होंने तुम्हारी इतनी मदद की, और तुमने मेडल जीतने के बाद सबको याद किया। ये अपने आप में बड़ी बात है। तुम्हें बहुत संभालना पड़ा सबको, है? मैं देख रहा था कि एक एक को तुझे खेल से ज्यादा संभालना पड़ रहा था, लेकिन तुम्हारा एक्सपीरियंस भी तो है, 15 साल का लंबा।
हाँ जी सर, काफ़ी अच्छा एक्सपीरियंस रहा ओलंपिक्स का, काफ़ी साल हो गए, और स्पेशली हमारे काफ़ी यंगस्टर्स भी हैं इस टीम में जो इन्हें ज़्यादा संभालना नहीं पड़ता, खुद काफ़ी रिस्पॉन्सिबल है। और
नहीं, वो संभालने वाला बात मैं नहीं कह रहा हूँ। जब आपकी सपनों को थोड़ी सी खरोच आ गई, सपना टूटा नहीं है, तो फिर इन सबको इमोशनल ब्रेकडाउन था।
नमस्कार सर। हाँ जी नमस्कार सर।
नमस्ते नमस्ते। देखिए, आप सब लोग बहुत बढ़िया खेले हैं। आपने इतना पसीना बहाया, इतना पसीना बहाया पिछले 5-6 साल से, सब कुछ छोड़ छाड़ करके आप इसी में साधना कर रहे थे। आपका पसीना बदल नहीं ला सका,
लेकिन आपका पसीना आज देश की करोड़ों बेटियों की प्रेरणा बन गया है। और मैं टीम के सभी साथियों को और आपके कोच को सबको बधाई देता हूं।
थैंक यू सर, थैंक्स अ लॉट। आपने इतना इनकरेज किया हमारी टीम को, सो थैंक यू सो मच।
और निराश बिल्कुल नहीं होना है। अच्छा, मैं देख रहा था नवनीत की आंख पर कुछ चोट आई है।
हाँ जी, कल उसको चोट आई थी, उसको 4 स्टिचेस लगे हैं। तो
अरे बाप रे, मैं देख रहा था उसको काफी, अभी ठीक है, उसकी आंख को तो कोई तकलीफ नहीं हुई है ना? और वंदना वगैरह सब बहुत बढ़िया किए आपने। और सलीमा के तो सबको लगा है कि भाई सलीमा तो बहुत कमाल कर देती है।
सर थैंक यू सो मच।
आप लोग रोना बंद कीजिए, मेरे तक आवाज आ रही है। देखिए, देश आज आपका पर गर्व कर रहा है, बिल्कुल निराश नहीं होना है। और कितने दशकों के बाद हॉकी भारत की पहचान फिर से एक बार पुनर्जीवित हो रही है, आपके लोगों की मेहनत से हो रही है। मैं देख रहा था कि कैसे सबको संभालना, क्योंकि आपके कोच भी इमोशनल हो गए थे। तो ये बड़ा कठिन पल था, लेकिन आपने संभाला सबने। हाँ।
पर आपने सर जो उस दिन कॉल किया और आपने इनकरेज किया, तो मुझे लगता है हम उस चीज़ से बाहर आ गए कि हमारा, अदरवाइज हमारे अंदर बहुत दुख था कि हम बहुत मेडल के क्लोज जाके वापस आए। बट आपने इनकरेज किया कि आप लोगों ने दिल का, मतलब देश का दिल जीता है, तो उस चीज़ ने हमें अच्छा लगा कि प्राइम मिनिस्टर ने मतलब हमें इनकरेज किया फोन करके।
आपने आपके जो प्रतिस्पर्धी थे उनके ट्वीट देखे थे क्या? हाँ? याद है? ब्रिटिश टीम ने आप लोगों की इतनी तारीफ की थी, यानी बोले ये सचमुच में इतने होनहार खिलाड़ी हैं, ना हर कोई आपकी टेक्निक की चर्चा कर रहा है। लेकिन सविता का चेहरा तो कोई जानता ही नहीं होगा। अभी पता चल गया। आप लोग घर हो आए कि अभी जाना बाकी है? सब जा गया है? तो नॉर्थ ईस्ट जा गया है? नहीं गई, बाद में जाओगे। अच्छा, आप में से कोई खास अनुभव बताना है तो मुझे बताइए, मैं सुनना चाहूंगा, जो बिल्कुल आपके जीवन में एक बहुत बड़ी यानी एक अमानत के रूप में आप लेके आई हो।
सर हमारे लिए सबसे बड़ी अमानत तो यही थी कि हम हिस्ट्री में फर्स्ट टाइम सेमीफाइनल में पहुंचे ओलंपिक्स के, और लास्ट टाइम हमने 12 टीम्स में से 12 फिनिश किया था, जो कि हमारा बिल्कुल अच्छा ओलंपिक्स नहीं था। और इस बार 4th फिनिश करना हमारी वुमेन हॉकी के लिए बहुत बड़ी बात है इंडिया में ना। और हमारी टीम को लड़कियों ने जो देख के हॉकी शुरू किया, तो मुझे लगता है यही हमारे लिए सबसे बड़ी अमानत है कि बाकी बच्चों ने भी हॉकी शुरू की इंडिया में।
देश में अब एक बराबर बुखार आने वाला है। अब क्रिकेट से लोग या तो फुटबॉल में जाएंगे या हॉकी में जाएंगे। ये आपने इतना तो कर दिया है।
बहुत इंकरेज किया है, मतलब जब हम लोग हार गए थे हम लोग बहुत इमोशनल थे। आपने जब बोला तो पूरी टीम को बहुत ज़्यादा मतलब अच्छा फील हुआ और सब लोग खुश हुए उस टाइम पे। हाँ जी सर।
चोट किसको आई थी? हाँ, तो किससे मार पीट की थी? अभी भी है तुम्हारा दाग? स्टिचेज अभी निकाले नहीं है? निकल गए? बड़ा ही तो थोड़ी सी बच गई, तुम्हारे आँख को नुकसान हो जाता। मैं देख रहा था कि इसको क्या हो गया। और सचमुच में आपने देश की बेटियों को बहुत प्रेरित किया और खेल में इंटरेस्ट, ये ओलंपिक अपने देश में मेडल से ज्यादा खेल के प्रति माँ बाप का विश्वास बढ़ेगा। पहले तो क्या था, एक आध खिलाड़ी की रुचि होती वो कर लेता, लेकिन माँ बाप अरे पढ़ाई करो, जो आप छोटे भाई को जरा उसको संभालो, देखो पापा आने का समय हो गया तुम घर में रहो, ऐसा सब होता था। अब बदलेगा। इस ओलंपिक के बाद माँ बाप चाहेंगे कि बच्चों की अगर रुचि खेलकूद में है तो उनको मदद करो, प्रोत्साहन दो। आ जाइए सब लोग। हाँ,
The Yugpurush himself comes from a very humble background, and maybe that's why his lived experience helps him to empathize with the poor and common man in India, whether it is the world's largest health insurance scheme, or 5 times increase in the budget for the agricultural sector, or for that matter, launching crop insurances or soil health card, or enhancing farmers' income via PM Kisan, or providing 8 crore LPG connections to women of SC and ST class, or for that matter, increasing bank loans for improving livelihood of the rural masses, or Housing for All scheme, or reforming income tax and corporate tax slabs. And many more were launched and being done due to his empathy for the common man. The world too saw his empathy when he sent out vaccines to the world, not only to the strongest, but also to the ignored ones, even before his own countrymen got vaccinated. Here is one of the many thanks the Yugpurush got from the world.
I must confess that I did not imagine that the prayers of my country would have been answered so swiftly. Being the leader of a small Caribbean island with a population of 72,000 people, I did not fancy my chances of getting such a swift, positive response to my request of India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi. One would have thought and understood that in a global pandemic such as this, a nation's size and might would have been the primary considerations. But it is to the credit of Prime Minister Modi that our request was considered on merit and the equality of our people was recognized. I'd like to take this opportunity once again to express my heartfelt thanks and appreciation to Prime Minister Modi, his government, and the citizens of India.
There are countries who were in surplus, but they didn't help the world. The Yugpurush did. Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam got priority over nation first this time. Since this time, more than India, the severely affected countries needed vaccines first. The world needed Mother India. Unfortunately, the second wave hit India and Modi had to resort back to looking after his own countrymen first with the limited vaccines India produced. The heart of Yugpurush also goes out to the brave hearts on the border, so he chooses to celebrate festivals like Diwali with the armies, with the true sons of the soil. On September 7, 2019, when the whole country was awake to celebrate India's moon mission, Chandrayaan-2. Prime Minister Modi arrived at ISRO headquarters himself to witness history being created and to cheer up the scientists. That day, the lander Vikram could not perform the soft landing on the moon, and at the last moment, the software glitch failed the whole mission. 1.3 billion people were sad, heartbroken. As despair was setting in, the Yugpurush stood up and started clapping and consoling the scientist. He understood instantly that no one in the world might be feeling as bad as the scientists themselves. No one can forget the Yugpurush hugging and consoling ISRO President Dr. K. Sivan that day. No one can forget how Dr. Sivan cried like a child in the arms of the Yugpurush, as if a son has let down his father. It's time for the world to imagine if India was a superpower today, with surplus vaccine and with this kind of an empathetic leader heading the state. Would the world have suffered so much as it did today? Jai Hind.